All right. Oops. Sorry about that, folks.
We are professional.
Professionals.
Let's try this again. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Watch. Just. All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tears of the Realms. Yes, this is our weird Cypher System powered homebrew Zelda flavored tabletop RPG set in our own version of the Tears of the Kingdom slash Breath of the Wild flavor of Hyrule, and the people below me are the cool people that were able to play today because everybody else has super awesome stuff that they're doing. So,
Everyone is cool.
and we scared Imp because we started on time.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, guys, I'm running the stream today because Elias has things that he's doing. So, that's it's a different world, guys. It's just like everything is
And he's not here, so we can talk about theater all we want.
yeah, Elias can't stop us.
Everyone stops and
We're
breaks
in
the tables
control
every 5
now.
seconds.
Announcements before we start talking about theater. First things first.
Zeldathon's happening.
Yeah, Zeldathon. For anyone that doesn't know, Zeldathon is a charity event. Helps raise money for Sister St. Jude's Children's Hospital, I believe.
Yep.
And they've actually partnered with Zelda Universe this year. Zelda Universe is actually taking care of the YouTube streaming of the event, which is super cool. And in addition to that, you may see some familiar faces if you tune in to today. I'm going to do my best to remember to read them after we are done. And you may see someone who is so much more than mediocre as soon as we are finished here. And then at, I believe it's 4:30 Eastern Time, Rebecca Forrest Minish, if you are familiar with the name in chat. She is a friend of Zelda Universe, and she will be hosting a Zelda themed Family Feud game on it.
We
So,
also have a fun segment happening a little earlier than that. That is from our lovely friend Laughing Boy LP, who used to run a lot of the kind of AV media stuff on the YouTube end for a while. Um, and so we've got a lot of cool people that are helping and doing stuff at Zeldathon. And they're all very lovely people and they're all very cool. And we're honored to have them as friends and collaborators. So we will be rating them after the show. But go support. They have been running since Tuesday, and currently they have raised in just this small period of time over $42,000, which is insane. So if you
yay!
would like to continue to support fun Zelda things and support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which helps families with medical stuff for kids, regardless of whether or not they can pay it. Consider donating to them um, on their stream. And if you're checking us out there and you want to have it like in the background, you could always pull up Zelda Universe on the YouTube channel, and you can watch it there too.
Yep, please
So,
support St. Jude. It is a wonderful program.
yeah.
They're really great.
For anyone that doesn't know, recently it was the 10-year anniversary of Robin Williams' passing, which was a huge shock to the world. However, St. Jude's was one of his preferred charities. He highly supported all the stuff that they do at St. Jude's. It's an absolutely wonderful, amazing organization. I myself have raised money for it before as part of Extra Life, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And then
Because
St. Jude. Sorry, you go first.
Extra Life partners of St. Jude. So, yeah.
St. Jude's also a charity that we at Zelda Universe have worked with before. We have done a couple of Z-Youthon events that are specifically that we're specifically raising money for St. Jude specifically. I think our second and fourth events were St. Jude, and they're great. So
yeah. So
Go
that
support.
being said, charity is always super awesome, and we are always very, very happy to support charity. However, there is another person that we need to support. She's not here right now, but
So should we wait for her to announce it, or?
well, I was just going to link to her Instagram page.
Oh, did she announce it on Instagram?
She did.
Oh!
That's the only reason that I'm saying anything. I generally won't say anything unless there's a official announcement. Everybody here knows and loves Kiri Callaghan. I'm going to put a link in the chat. And Kiri Callaghan, our favorite
Faye.
published author, Faye, whatever, has been able to officially announce that I'm going to read exactly what the little announcement on her Instagram account says. But Kiri Callaghan's The Hearth Witch's Guide to Magic and Murder, the first in a fantastical series with a slow burn sapphic romance set in an alternate London in which a rogue changeling and a heartbroken witch team up in an unlikely partnership to solve a string of murders that threaten to expose the hidden world of Fae, to Rachel Gilmer at Poison Pen Press for publication in fall 2025 by Daniel Burby at Madwoman's Literary Agency, World English. I don't know
And
what a
luck
lot
is
of that
real.
stuff means.
It's
but
a book. Make sure you better watch that account for pre-orders because girl.
So yeah,
We
anyway,
love-
Kiri's been
Okay.
doing a lot of really awesome, amazing stuff. A lot of it having to do with this, and now she's been able to finally announce that the first book in this series. I believe this means like they signed paperwork or something. Kiri knows so much more about it than I do, but we're all unbelievably excited for her. I will be talking about this every chance I could get. For anyone that doesn't know, Kiri is already a published author, and I have one of her books. Literally, I don't know. Yeah, you can see it in the thing. That is not changing. That is Alice the
the first book.
Terminium Chronicles. Changeling is next to my bed because I still need to finish reading it, and I read in bed. So. But they're two amazing, phenomenal books, and we can't wait to see what happens next with that. So,
Sounds like the coziest mystery ever. I'm so excited to read it.
oh man,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
it has been so cool listening to Kiri kind of hint about the things that she couldn't talk about, and yeah,
I mean,
now
it's
that
just
there's
cool to listen to Kiri in general.
well, I mean,
Yes.
you're not wrong, but
I'm not in that regard.
but yeah, anyway, so we're all super, super excited for Kiri, and we can't wait to see what happens next. As far as other announcer moments, I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but for anyone that's aware, I think over a year ago now, I helped kind of restart the ZU podcast and get some people in place to make sure stuff comes out. And a few weeks ago, I want to say, a new episode of the podcast came out. It was a roundtable discussion talking about the new 2D Zelda Giga game, which the name is escaping me right now, but Lex probably knows it.
Wait, what?
The new 2D Zelda game? What's the
Oh, Echoes of Wisdom comes
There
out
we
in
go.
like a month.
So, so they had an Echoes of Wisdom roundtable discussion. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on other podcasty places. So definitely check that stuff out. I'm very proud of all the stuff that the podcast has been able to do and how regular they've been able to get it out. So, yeah.
On that note, speaking of other fun things, if you're going to Big Bad Con this year, which is a tabletop event in October in the Bay Area. Your girls run some heists of the honey variety. Um, I am going to be running something called Honey Heist 2 Secret of the Mansion. Um, I ran my first games at a con last year with Honey Heist, where it was a group of people stealing honey from a Six Flags because I felt like that was the best choice, and because it's happening during Halloween. And because it's now during Halloween, I'm now making it in a potentially, allegedly, haunted mansion. Definitely no relation to the attraction. Me be influenced by Disney rides? Never. But if you're happen to be going to Big Bad Con, which is October 24th through 27th in the Bay Area, event signups will go up. I'm going to be running that game 4 times. So by all means, come through.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see what Lex's DM style is like, I believe you've run a Honey Heist adventure at least once here in the channel, right?
2. I've got 3 GM'd games here. I've got 2 Honey Heists, and then last year I was the first like really outside of Open Legend one shot. When we ran Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu. That's when my buddy DK.
Yeah, DK came in for that one, and it was really, really fun. And I made a fun little intro sequence for it, and I was really proud of it.
It was amazing, guys.
It was really good.
Call of Cthulhu.
We'll have to do it again. Maybe I'll be a better GM. I won't. Let's be clear.
The best part about
I don't know rules in general, so
the best part of that game was all of us. I think possibly aside from DK, because I think he might have played Call of Cthulhu before, but all of us as we were playing realized, maybe we should have specialized in more things instead of just putting points everywhere and making it so we had like a 5% chance to succeed on most of the things that we did.
Yeah.
Like we didn't. None of us had played a D100 system where it's all percentile dice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like that's more in the theme of Call of Cthulhu, though. You don't really play in the Lovecraftian universe to win. You play to like either die or go insane in the most twisted ways possible.
I mean,
correct.
You're not wrong.
Also, this is your opportunity to go look at the one shots.
Yeah. We had a really awesome time between Campaign 1 and Campaign 2. Where we got a lot of people to do stuff. We had a crossover with who was it? Was it -1 Charisma where they did their Schmelda thing?
Which Elias was on.
Yep.
Kiri ran some stuff where I got to be a dragonborn barbarian named Kador. He was a dragon and a barbarian and liked books.
Oh yeah, where we both independently came up with the same bad Kiwi accent.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is just how I sound.
I think my favorite part of that
almost sounded Australian for the first week of rehearsal because of that. I hope you know that.
And my favorite part about that game is at the end of the game, there was a boss that kind of like mind controlled me or something like that. And they Kiri kind of role played it as, well, I'm your friend, so you should help me out. And so at the end, when we're finishing this character off, I just come with this line, you know what? Maybe if you didn't treat your friends like they were disposable, maybe this wouldn't be happening. You know, maybe treat your friends better. And I got to just do this little kind of tug at heartstrings as we're killing off this evil ghost thing. It was super fun. Watch the one-shots. They're all here on the Twitch channel. Just go to the video tabs, and I think they have their own playlist and everything.
Yeah, so. I think so.
Wow, it's so organized.
We try. Emphasis on try.
Yeah. Another announcement, due to unfortunate circumstances in my life and scheduling issues, we missed most of the month of July. And the month of July marks 1 year that Tears of the Realms has been existing. So, yeah, guys, we've been doing this for over a year now, which is super cool and amazing and fun. And the, what is it, I think 7-year anniversary of just tabletop RPGs on Zelda Universe is coming at the end of September. So, yeah. Very cool things that have been going on here for quite some time that I have slightly had a hand in. So, yeah. Do we have other announcer moments?
I don't know. We got into musical theater talk before we started as usual.
Yeah, we were talking about what was it? The difference between the Mary Poppins play versus the Mary Poppins Disney movie.
Yes.
Which I had no idea they were so distinct.
Yes.
Well, that tends to happen. Like if you
And for those who were wondering what the differences are, there were a lot. The entirety of the show is like they've all the like most of the songs are there aside from like 3 from the movie. But the plot adds more characters from the books. They expand Winifred Banks' character because there's no suffragette thing in this show to be more of like a woman trying to kind of figure out herself. And Bert's character is much like I think better because in the movie he's very much played up as a clown and he's not a clown in our show. Or in the musical he's like a little bit more reserved and grounded and like kind of is more I think down to earth, which I adore so much better. So
I feel like if that's the best accent they could get out of Dick Van Dyke, I understand why they went
he
the clown
apparently
route.
got taught by an Irish person.
Oh no!
The best part about it, Dick Van Dyke,
Which makes a lot of sense.
The Irish revenge.
He's apologized for it.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke, he did an interview, oh God, like 10 or 15 years ago now. But he was talking there, he not only is he apologized for it, but he goes, I thought it would, like, I didn't realize it was such a bad accent. Like, people told me it was good. I didn't know.
The other thing I learned was apparently someone ringed him up to play Bond. And Dick Van Dyke went, "You've heard my British accent, right?" No. Click.
So,
we could have had a Burt James Bond. God damn it. Unbelievable.
So, yeah, cool stuff like that is good. Well, went on. Hey, look, it's an Elias in chat with a Zelda U thumbs up. Hi, Elias. We can talk about musical theater as much as we want, and you can't stop us. So there. So let's talk about the difference between Newsies, the movie, and Newsies, the Broadway musical, because those are almost 2 different shows.
Gladly. Let me tell you something.
Also, Harvey Fierstein wrote the book for Newsies, and he is probably one of the coolest people in the world.
Oh, he's so great. Newsies is a fun one, but it's also, I think, I had a conversation about this. Newsies is, I think, me have conversations about things. Newsies is, I think, Disney's most accessible musical to put on. I'ma say it. Because every other Disney show that you can license is in... And I'm not saying that Newsies isn't one of them, but it is the least insane. Because Newsies, you just need really strong dancers, but you can kind of get away with making some liberties for the set that you cannot do for Beauty and the Beast, that you shouldn't be doing for Mary Poppins. The set for Hunchback is minimal-ish, but it's a vocal gauntlet.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Tarzan, no one can do for the obvious reasons of flight and swinging. Mary Poppins is usually prohibitively expensive for the same thing, unless you're a production like us that figure out other ways to do flying. And Beauty and the Beast is just, it's huge. It's a giant musical, and so is Mary Poppins with the sets. Like, they're they're technically like deep and complicated and complex shows.
Well, if I remember, at least
Frozen's not much better either. Frozen is also a giant technical insanity, but that's what you do. That's what you get when you have a company that's got so much money and an unlimited budget to literally make what they want.
Wait, how did you do the flying?
We didn't. We did projection for whatever we did, and then
they jumped a lot. Like
we
Lex has amazing,
and there wasn't very
calisthenics.
much. Not anymore. There's I will spoil this one section for you, Dottie, of Step in Time, because in the original Broadway production of Step in Time, because again they've got money, Bert like goes up the proscenium and tap dances upside down for a little bit, because again, money. Trying to rent any sort of flying equipment requires fly space, the people, the equipment, and housing for those technicians. All of it is super expensive. So we didn't do that. We did something different. But it's very, very expensive in terms of what that stuff is. And so Newsies, by being kind of the most minimalist, is the easiest show that is like that's like not a junior show that that can be put on by, I will argue, most people. I am very quickly cross-checking with.
If I remember correctly, at least the filmed version that they have on Disney Plus, I think most of the set is just basically like iron scaffolding.
Exactly, it is. It's iron scaffolding, and then screens come down for projections, and then other things come on. Again, it's super simple. Versus something like, you know, Beauty and the Beast, where there are giant moving things, or Mary Poppins, where they've got giant set pieces, and other stuff. Like, I don't know anything about, like, because they have Freaky Friday, also licensable. Frozen will be available for license probably shortly. Little Mermaid, I don't know how insane sets are for that, but, like,
I think costumes would be the thing that would make Little Mermaid a lot of exorbitant.
I mean, Little Mermaid also did the fish thing by putting people on roller skates, a la Starlight Express.
I was about to say Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express.
Which is
Starlight
in a revival right now in London.
Are they reviving it? Wow!
It's already been it's been running in London for a while, and there's a production still in Germany. And it's still Thomas the Tank Engine meets Jesus Christ Superstar.
I don't think it's ever ended in like it is like the most popular musical in Germany. It's the weirdest thing in the world what German
like
audiences will cling on to. But
it's
yeah,
like Cats in Tokyo. Cats opened in like the 80s in Tokyo, and it's still running, I believe.
Yeah, it has never stopped running in Germany. And it is an acid trip of a musical. But if you like that kind of like spectacle style musical, it is an amazing experience. Like they have lots of lights and like LEDs everywhere, and roller skates, and it's actually a dangerous musical to pull off because
that's to say, but the insurance is the big cost.
Yeah, insurance is crazy on it,
which is why you're probably not going to see it come back in New York anytime soon.
Well,
because
Broadway is slowly killing itself anyways, but we won't talk about that.
Okay.
But for anyone that doesn't know, supporting local and regional theater is incredibly important, because I've gone on this rant before, but if you want to know how effective the Screen Actors Guild is, over 86% of their members don't qualify for health benefits because they don't make enough money. And if you want to know how much money you have to make as an actor to qualify for Screen Actors Guild health benefits, it's $27,000, which is below poverty wages for a family of four. So, yeah, the way that a lot of actors are actually able to be working actors is through summer stock, regional theater, and the few community theaters that actually can pay their actors. Alongside things like, Broadway, is nice, but it's a very, very tiny minority of actors, just because it's a small place. Chicago has a theater district. Milwaukee has a great theater district. A lot of larger cities will have theater shows. And then again, there are Summer Stock and all these other places where people can go get actual acting experience, be able to act in front of crowds. And a lot of times they're significantly more affordable than anything you are ever going to find in a major city. So support regional theater. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It gives a lot of young actors their start, and it works as kind of a stopgap for a lot of more established actors that can't get roles due to the myriad of issues, probably the biggest of which being there will always be probably orders of magnitude more actors than there will ever be roles for them in this country. So support regional theater.
Yeah.
That being said, before we get started, from Imp, everybody take a player intrusion token.
Oh, great.
It'll probably be useful because today everything is going to go great. And Chax, you're muted. Okay, just making sure.
She's like, I'm aware. Thank you.
All right. Well, unless we have... Oh, I should also mention... I can't remember if I mentioned it here or not because it's been a while since we've played. I think I did. Ironheart. Yeah, I did because I remember talking it over with Chax. Ironheart, the solo mech TTRPG that I talked about a little while back. They finished their Kickstarter or their backer kit, whatever it was. They hit their funding goal by like at least double, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, they did really, really well. I'm excited to see what happens once it actually comes out. And who knows, maybe if I can't get enough players, I might stream something here of that because it's a one-player tabletop RPG where you create a pilot and a mech friend, and then you go on adventures becoming better friends with your giant mech. Like, how... I know, right, Daddy? Like, everything about it, you're like, oh, it's amazing. So,
like the Iron Giant.
Yeah!
Vin Diesel here?
Hogar. So, yeah, that being said, I think I will wait till Jax gets back. Other things. I really enjoy that Imp described Kiri as a Fey Gallifreyan Batman. Because I really think like that fits so well. Also, I really like your Star Trek cup, Dottie.
Thank you.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like,
dropped
tea,
my dice.
Earl Grey, hot.
Yes, exactly. Is it Earl Grey? I don't think it is. I think it's
We'll
English
never
breakfast
know.
tea today. We'll just pretend it's Earl Grey.
Yeah, close enough.
I have had... My dad used to drink Earl Grey every so often. And Earl Grey, it's a fine tea blend, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand...
It's disgusting because it has bergamot in it.
It's one of those things, like, I don't understand why Picard was just so obsessed with just Earl Grey. Like, there's so many other amazing teas out there.
He's a creature of habit. He likes his books, he likes his physical media, and he likes his Earl Grey.
Kiri on her Instagram, I believe, also has posted a picture of her cat Sophie with her new... it looks like a China teacup that says Tea Earl Grey hot on it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love the Star Treks. All right, so one of these days I gotta run you guys through like a Zelda themed one shot of the Star Trek Adventures TTRPG because that one is a lot of fun too. Modiphius makes some pretty cool RPGs. I guess I could say this before we get going. Essence 20, they're the people, or that's the system that powers like Power Rangers and G.I. Joe and Transformers, and it's one of the big focuses on my YouTube channel. Renegade Game Studios produces it. They just announced they're going to be running a backer kit to adapt Welcome to Night Vale into a tabletop RPG that is powered by the Essence 20 system. So, yeah. if you if you're a fan of Welcome to Night Vale, which is a really cool kind of surrealist satire science fiction podcast series, that when I was looking up information for the video I did on it, I found out a lot of famous people have been a part of it, like Felicia Day, Will Wheaton, Molly Quinn. Who are some of the other ones? Lots of names that I recognized. Lots of names. So, yeah, that should be very cool. I'm always into surrealist, satirist, science fiction, horror, because that's a genre that comes up just constantly. So, yeah, backer kit for that is going to be launching, I think, early October. I don't know. But it's cool stuff. I love the people over at Renegade. They've been very, very kind to me. I've actually spoken on a number of occasions with one of the people that actually wrote the Power Rangers RPG, because I have an unhealthy obsession with Power Rangers for someone my age. So, yeah. That being said, and since we have everybody here, I think it is time for us to return to Tears of the Realms. The city has gathered. The Tearwalkers and their newly found friend Fubari have finally been able to pull off their plan to gather all of the town Minish in the town hall so that they may hopefully enact the ritual to empower their artifact that can open the Temple of the Minish. However, as they were gathering all the members of the town, they realized someone was missing. And Zariah and Adesh went back to the barn to discover something strange happening.
It wasn't Adesh, it was Mado.
Mado, thank you. I was looking at Mado.
How dare you?
You're just used to Adesh being heroic, not so much Motto.
Yeah.
Motto's
Well,
slamming
get
into
used to
building
it, fam.
size.
Back to the recap.
Oh.
They found strange shadows corrupting everything, including sound itself. When they eventually reached the room where they had been held captive, they discovered Grumpo standing there with a strange, almost liquid-like form of shadows extruding from him after using a very bright, flashing teardrop. The Tearwalkers were able to bring Grumpo to the town hall. But now, the difficult task of convincing the town Minish to agree to help the forest Minish begins. Alright, so... just to kind of bring everyone back to speed, because I think, yeah, both Lex and Chax were here, but Dottie missed the last section. Effectively, they went and they set off their plan where they set fire to a shack on the edge of town to distract all of the Hylians, and then using a combination of Zariah's plant growth and Mado kind of spotting from on high using his new gliding shields, they were able, for the most part, to get everybody through without too much difficulty. There was a slight problem with some guards that met... what were those plants called again? It was like goat thorns or something like that.
Goat heads.
Yes.
Goat heads, yeah. Evil prickly plants that can pop tires.
Pop tires.
Yeah.
And
Which
they itch. And they hook into your skin and tires and everything else. Look it up. They're terrifying. And very
wow.
common.
So, just FYI, from Imp in My Head, everyone can take 5 effort tokens and 1 reroll token.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Dang.
Nice.
I feel like we're gonna need them.
Yes.
Boss, this? No.
So, so yeah, now everyone has been able to come back to the town hall, which was, as far as for the town minish, it was really the only place where they actually had a facility large enough to hold all of the town minish, which is necessary for the ritual to kind of empower their artifact. However, you guys also brought along Grumpo, who is afflicted with the shadow sickness, and we're trying to figure out exactly what you all wanted to do involving that. Whether you wanted to bring him in, whether you wanted to leave him out. And that is where we return.
So he's still in statue form.
Not quite statue. He's basically just unconscious.
Okay.
And like as far as muscle rigidity is concerned, he's not like completely limp or anything like that.
We can't just prop him up independently.
You can't. He basically, like all of the people with shadow sickness, all basically stay like this. But they're not like complete stone statues. Their muscles are just rigid enough to keep them roughly this shape. So if you wanted to kind of lean him against something, you could, but it would be a little bit awkward because he's still somewhat squidgy, just not complete, puddle of, bones and flesh. So.
We never decided who was going to be staying out, right?
Not yet, but it was theorized that possibly Aino and at this point maybe Adesh might stay out due to the fact of them simply just not being here. So
Gotcha.
And probably Dilly as well. They volunteer as well because they think that they probably aren't going to have much to say for roughly the next 2-ish hours.
Wild. Anyway.
So that being said, what would the rest of you like to do?
I feel like if we bring him in there, it's going to incite a panic.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good call.
So, yeah, unless we have a plan to immediately direct this panic in a productive way, we should leave him out and slow roll this.
Well, see, the problem is we don't have Kiri or Elias here, so we probably don't have a good way to diffuse the panic.
Yeah.
That, you're right. And when you're right, you're right.
And that's sad.
No, I think Zariah has been exceptional at diffusing situations.
Which is funny because you should see what she's actually good at.
I mean, if by diffusing you mean finding ways to use your abilities to silence things, then I think it works pretty well.
She's apparently very good at persuasion. Did you know that?
No,
Neither did I.
Wild.
Folks, this is one of the fun facts of role-playing. Despite what your character sheet says, just because it's on your character sheet doesn't mean it's true.
You're right.
I mean, maybe her persuasion is just, physical intimidation.
As far as Imp in chat has asked, can Fubari use teardrops? Thus far, we have seen no aptitude for Fubari with teardrops, but she thus far has seemed kind of unaware that they exist. Because the only teardrops that the Tearwalkers have dealt with have been, I think they're called intrinsic, the ones that just kind of are energy that they absorb while they've been in this particular tier. So, from a mechanics standpoint, the cipher system is built on ciphers, which we call teardrops. So it would kind of suck if Fubari couldn't, but one thing they did find out about Fubari while you were gone. Motto was trying to get everybody across across the roofs, and he decided to bring Fubari with him on his shield, thinking, well, one person works, let's try two. And it went less than stellar, and as his shield was plummeting to the ground with both Fubari and Motto on it, and Motto's going, this is how it ends. This is a good end. This is how I want it to go. Fubari brought out one of her many gadgets, shot a grappling hook, and just hoisted everyone up. And so they went, wait a minute, Fubari can do that? Yeah, Fubari's effectively an artificer. So Fubari has lots of cool stuff that she could do.
I just need to not be here so I don't roll once.
That's the problem. Yeah, because if you rolled ones, we would have both had been making new characters there.
So, really quickly, because Imp has redeemed it, where are we?
Well, Fubari actually has seen the teardrops because she's seen, like, Zoraya and other people use them and has been in close proximity of them.
Have you, I mean...
Yes, but I feel like it would get meshed into the rest of the magical unknown that she's experiencing, so I don't know if she would be able to distinguish them.
Give me a couple seconds here, folks. I gotta... Imp has redeemed a teardrop, and I've got to roll for it.
Oh no!
So Fubari, you have currently joined us outside of the town hall with the unconscious body, correct?
Correct.
I believe so.
Perfect.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
Oh no! I don't like the way you said that.
Fubari, you didn't like this person, correct?
Oh, he's terrible.
Fantastic.
Great.
He is my mother's uncle's cousin on my aunt's side, so yeah.
Oh, he's family. All right, then maybe I won't.
Motto takes a second to do like the father's,
planning.
uncle's, cousins, and like
the math symbols start appearing.
Literally, it's like that section. You might hear the X-Files theme as that's happening, and it's like, okay, I think I get it.
Zarya starts looking around for a tree that she can strap this guy to.
So as you're doing that, Fubari, you are you're kind of conversing with everyone, and you notice Zarya is sitting there, and Zarya is doing one of those things where like she's using her hand to kind of measure exactly like how large something would need to be in order to kind of like strap this guy to it, and you suddenly see this kind of glint of light out of the corner of your eye, and as you go over to look at it, you find what seems like a small kind of wooden, not really button, but it looks like it possibly like fell off of like a buttress or a bust or something like that, like a decorative piece. And as you pick it up, you are going to get your first teardrop. And the teardrop is called Talk to Me. That is literally what it is called. And I'm going to post the effect in the Roll20 chat. But I will also read it to you. So, the user can talk to any creature that is part of a structure, such as a mermaid in a fountain statue, a stone gargoyle on a skyscraper, or a dragon-shaped doorbell on a private home. The user can ask them a number of questions equal to the cipher level and get true answers. The question must pertain to something the creature would know, such as something they saw or heard in the area, something they felt, or who made them. So I do need you to roll me a d6.
Okay. It might be faster to do it in the beginning. Dig through this bag to find.
I can roll a d6 if you need it.
Yes, please.
I
Go
can
ahead.
do that. All right, so that is a 6. So this is actually a level 8 teardrop.
Ooh. Fancy. Her first teardrop is.
And it's a high level.
I love it.
Do I like innately know what it does?
So as you sit there and you pick it up, you are suddenly flooded with the information I just described to you. You don't know how you know, but for some odd reason you think if you place this on some kind of carved animal-like thing, you think you can basically animate it and make it talk for a limited amount of time, and you can ask it up to 8 questions.
Okay, I would like to smell it.
As you smell, it's got that rich kind of like oak smell to it with a little bit of varnish smell in there. And then on your character sheet, if you go to the far right, right beneath the Tears of the Realms logo we have on there, see a thing that says teardrops? If you click on add, it should allow you to add 8 to the teardrop. And again, you just put level 8. And then you can just copy and paste the text from the chat to, if you push the magnifying glass, it should allow you to add a description. So.
Okay, thank you.
So that way you can do it. And the way that ciphers work in the cipher system, which is, we have renamed them teardrops because I had a massive obsession with the word tear when I was writing everything for this campaign. They're basically one-time use abilities. And the whole kind of basis behind the cipher system is the idea that, well, yes, the way that you build your character is important. You are also fairly regularly going to get these just random abilities that you can use once that will allow you to play your character a little bit differently and do some fun, weird stuff. So, yeah. And you do have a limit. You can only have 2 teardrops on there. And I'll just real quick. The name of it is Talk to Me. So I'll put that on your character sheet. So yeah, you can't have more than 2 teardrops at any given time, otherwise bad things start happening, because they do give off kind of an energy to them. You personally have never seen something like this before. This is your first interaction with it, but the rest of the tier walkers are a little bit more familiar with them if you want to ask questions. So
I grab it and I take it up to Zaraya and I stick it in her face. What's this?
Oh, that's just something lovely. Can I have it?
Maybe. What is?
Can you not tell what it is?
Yeah.
A random voice in the sky didn't give you the description of what it does.
Yes, I know what does, but what is?
This is what's called a teardrop. And it is what exploded the door.
Oh.
But yours looks like it's a little bit different.
Yes.
And Jiraiya kind of, may I?
Yes.
And she takes it, she kind of holds it. Oh, that's interesting. It's not as fun as I thought it would be. You can keep this one.
Wow.
I don't want this one.
Not as much boom.
Honestly,
Exactly.
mid.
I don't really like talking to people, let alone things. So here, you can have this back.
Cringe.
All right. Well, I stick it in a pocket somewhere.
But yeah, she does explain again what it does. So.
I mean, Imp, you're not wrong. Sorry. Oh, no arson? Oh, well, you can keep it.
Then I don't want it.
It can't hurt anyone or anything. I really don't want it.
So just a little bit of exposition reminder for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, all of the townspeople are in one spot,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still very anti anything to do with Forest Minish as far as like
As far as they're aware, they weren't really told exactly what this meeting was about. They were basically told, "Hey, we need everyone to come to the town hall for a meeting," because that's not a completely outside the ordinary thing to happen. It doesn't happen often. Like the last time a meeting like this happened was shortly after the shadow sickness started spreading, and before that, it was probably years between these large giga gatherings. So the choice was kind of made that instead of trying to convince everyone separately to come together for this ritual, they would just go, "Hey, everybody, there's a meeting, staff meeting, everybody."
okay. And
But they've been told that the shadow sickness is spread by the Forest Minish because they did something that they shouldn't have done in the forest, and then it eventually spread to the town Minish. So there's still that animosity and kind of blame. And in general, the town Minish view the Forest Minish not only as kind of barbaric and uncivilized, but also extremely kind of selfish and dangerous because they live out in the forest, and because they can't hide in rafters and other things like that, they believe that there's a much larger chance of Hylians finding them. And once Hylians find out about the Minish, bad things happen. Bad things have always happened when that happens. So they think that the Forest Minish are dangerous. And the same thing is true about, since you kind of bridge both, the Forest Minish believe that the town Minish are incredibly self-centered and lazy because they live right next to the Hylians. So they're at a significantly better chance of getting discovered and ruining it for everyone, and they kind of leech off of Hylians and can't do their own thing. And they have homeowners associations, and whoa.
A couple sessions back, I had a friend who was doing trading on the regular with the Forest Minish. How common is that?
Extremely rare. To be perfectly frank, the only reason your friend was trading with them is because they are friends with you. They do their best to keep themselves separate as physically possible. And again, a lot of once you left the town Minish, you realize that a lot of the preconceptions that you had were based entirely on hyperbole. Like you've met a lot of Forest Minish. A lot of them are your friends. All the stories that you heard about them are wrong. They're not stupid. They're not barbaric. They're not selfish. So yeah, you have this kind of unique perspective, and you heard all the stuff about the town Minish that they've told you, and the town Minish aren't lazy. They're not selfish. They're not dangerous or anything like that. Like, you have heard the propaganda from both sides and realize it is just that, propaganda.
So we currently, do we have the sigil with us, the one that works from the Forest Minish, or is that something that we have to like get them together later down?
The Forest Minish have a staff that's already been empowered, and they're going to meet you at the Temple of the Minish. So that has already been taken. Okay. They have already done the ritual required to empower their artifact. The mayor of the town Minish has their artifact, which instead of it being a staff, this is more like a scepter kind of thing. If you're used to, if you've ever seen like English coronation, the scepter and the other thing that I think it's a seal that the King of England or Queen of England would hold when they're being officially, I can't remember the term for it, but when they become the king, they basically have a little scepter. Does that make sense?
Is this a thing that he specifically has to empower?
The way that the ritual works is the Minish themselves have to do this ritual, which basically involves them actively caring about and working together to infuse, power into this item. Very Spirit Bomb-esque if you're Dragon Ball adjacent.
So there's no way of getting around the necessary unity.
Yeah. That's kind of the point of the ritual, is they have to actually work together. It's nonsense.
Okay. So I feel like we have to try to go the charisma route at least once. Kiri or no Kiri?
We're gonna have to, yeah.
I'm sorry,
what a time for Jesus to be gone.
You guys have a salesman with you.
That's true. Okay.
Like, I'm not sure if you remember, Lex, but when we built your character,
oh right,
we
I
built
have a
them
feature
to be
for this.
the best salesman ever. Like, that was the entire point of your character. Well,
right.
You're not always there mentally, but when you get into sales mode,
you get the sales mode.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, your attention, please.
Yeah, that's right. I can Harold Hill this. I just gotta figure
Billy
out
Flynn and the Ragtime Gal. Look how his mouth never moves. Almost.
Okay.
The master of the shield.
So I guess the question is
Fails.
We either need to be able to convince them that either the Forest Minister aren't so bad and we should work with them, or the situation is desperate enough that it doesn't really matter what they think about the Forest Minister. This is our only option.
I would probably say I feel like it doesn't matter will be a better call, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're placing the blame on a group of people that had nothing to do with it.
And honestly, if you can, yeah, and like if you can get them in the same room, I mean, that's one thing I've learned IRL is exposure is everything for empathy.
Yep. Okay. And with that angle, I think I know what I think I have
But some people just have a deep-seated hatred that it doesn't matter how many times you encounter or like someone, the very idea of what they are is still.
Yeah, and if those are the people who are currently in power, we just need to get the whole population together.
Well, I guess
I guess we took out Grumpo, who is one of the main negative voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
true.
fun fact: Prejudice. To take a line from a musical I was once in, you've got to be carefully taught. Prejudice is a learned behavior, and because of that, it's generally something that it's taught very, very young. 9 times out of 10, it's taught unintentionally. But because it is something that you are not only taught when you're very, very young, but it is reinforced over and over through your formative years, it is an unbelievably difficult thing to overcome. And the single most effective way that has been utilized to overcome it, there's a gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a really great jazz musician. He's an African-American jazz musician. And what he's most famous for now is he collects KKK robes. And the way that he does it is he sits down with members of the KKK and just talks to them. He doesn't call them evil or racist or anything like that. He just sits down and talks to them. And he's collected over 200 KKK robes. From people, like these aren't just like little people that, thought that the robes looked really cool. Like, he's gotten like grand dragons to give up their robes. So yeah, empathy and actually treating people like human beings has an unbelievably high success rate in breaking prejudices, but it does require a lot of work. Anyway, that being said, something that you guys have effectively learned after dealing with the mayor is the mayor in particular doesn't seem to be motivated as much by prejudice as they are by power and authority. So the people in power right now are not, they're, from what you have discovered, they are blaming the Forest Minish not so much out of prejudice as much as they are an easy scapegoat because they can't defend themselves. And they were able to come up with some science to support their excuse.
Is there a way that we can show to the general populace that their leadership doesn't actually care about them?
That's a route you can go. It is entirely up to you how you guys want to go about this. I'm simply telling you the things that you already have discovered. So, and if you guys want to, here's another thing that some tabletop RPG players may not be familiar with. Your characters a lot of times know more than the players do about certain things. And the way that we simulate that is if you go, well, I don't know how to do this, but would my character know blah, blah? And if it's something big enough, I'll have you roll some kind of check for it. Otherwise, I'll just say, your character knows these things. So if you guys want to reach into your backstories and things like that to go, hey, would this help us out here? Would this help? What would I know about this? Or what would my character know about this? Go for it. I am more than happy to give you all the information you want, as long as there is a game-based reason for why you would know it.
Gotcha.
And you can use the congregate knowledge of those that aren't here, as much as I am willing to say.
So what would Aino know about?
I was about to say, I'm not going to give you all of Aino's backstory or tell you all the secret, skeletons in Adesh's closet. But if there is something specific that only they would know that is really essential to this, you are welcome to ask them.
And the response?
I'm trying to think. Because I have enough
playing with the key.
I have some thoughts of just kind of going off of being like, well, what's the science? Prove it, kind of thing. Because they're like, oh yeah, we have the science evidence. Have they actually shown us that evidence?
Effectively, the people that were affected by it first were the ones that were living closest to the edge of town. Like the barn was the first place where the shadow sickness showed up.
That's not enough evidence to count for anything.
Absolutely. However, when you combine that with fear and a need to understand something that doesn't make sense, it's all the evidence that a lot of people need. We obviously, in the world, have never seen people cling to fear and a need to understand something very complicated.
That's true. That's never happened here.
So...
in this trying time, never.
Do we know how many of the town Minish have currently been affected? Is this the first time that the shadow sickness is actually here?
They effectively sequestered most of their shadow sickness away. The town Minish in and of themselves is maybe a few hundred Minish. Both Minish societies are relatively small, being under 1,500 people each. And so overall, a few dozen shadow sickness have happened. So we're talking about probably less than 1% of their population.
Okay, where have they kept these? I know we don't have a good idea of how it's spreading yet, but where do we know where the currently afflicted ones are sequestered?
To be honest, you guys haven't asked, so
Okay.
You don't know. You the few conversations you guys have had, you do know that people have been affected by it, and you haven't seen any of them. So the fact that they are keeping them somewhere is just mostly conjecture that hasn't been disproven when you've talked to anyone.
Okay.
You've gotten no indication that they've gone off and killed them or anything. All the shadow sickness people are still alive. They're just kept somewhere.
And Grumpo, we found him kind of in the general area of where those first cases initiated?
Yep.
Okay.
Though Grumpo was the first time you guys actually saw someone as they were being afflicted by it. Everyone else, Grumpo was fine yesterday, and now he has shadow sickness.
So we didn't see it like actually come on. We came back and we found him like that.
Well, yeah, specifically it was Zariah and Mado who saw it.
Yeah, and you guys actually saw it taking effect.
Yes.
So what did it look like? What happened?
He was basically like when we like there was, as we went up the stairs of the barn, there like the sound got more dampened, so it was harder to hear everything. And then on top of that, then there was stuff coming spilling from underneath the door, like this black Icarus like substance. We bust down the door, and then he was like in a cloak, standing, like dripping, I think, off of his fingers onto the floor as it was coming towards us.
Off of his body, so it wasn't coming off of his clothes at all. And so Zariah decided to use a very, very bright flashbang, because it was a very high level, which let us get to Grumpo. And then Grumpo like passed out and was afflicted by the shadow sickness, and Zariah stole his cloak.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. You would notice Zariah has a very fetching cloak now.
Yep. That's what happened.
Zariah is very, very upset that in 2 realms she cannot fly. She will now be able to fly, no matter where she is.
Yep.
Mado's shield be damned.
It looks great on you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, so we didn't get to see more than that, and I don't think anything has gotten worse from that, but that is what we've seen.
Mm.
I think we should just go on in and let's just go for it.
Let's just talk to them, and I think honesty is probably the best policy here.
Push the door.
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll walk in.
So, as you guys push open the relative to you very large double doors, the first thing that you notice, normally the last time you guys came here, there were guards positioned outside of the council chambers, which is where they've kind of gathered everybody. There are no guards here. There's no one here. But you can hear voices coming from the council chamber. And as you enter in, the council chamber effectively looks kind of like a courtroom with proscenium seating, so that it can hold a lot more people. Looking around, you can see everybody in here, and the mayor is addressing the town, and to kind of sum up what he's saying, he has claimed that with the help of his advisors, that they have discovered a solution to the shadow sickness, but it requires everyone to work together to empower this scepter. And with this scepter, he can go and vanquish the source of the shadow sickness and save everyone.
Halfway there.
We're getting there. It's pretty good so far.
Okay.
What is the response of everybody else as he's saying that?
Why don't you roll me a wisdom check to get some rolls to start and go here to kind of intuit exactly what's going on with everyone in the crowd. Or I guess I'll let you. I'll let you guys decide who wants to do it. You can choose either wisdom or power.
Can I argue that because stealth mode, when people are saying things, that I can sense and detect a little more in terms of what the perception is of people, because I can read body language a little bit when they're telling people what, like, hey, here's the plan.
You have a skill involving like pleasant conversations, right, or pleasant.
Do we consider this a pleasant or positive social interaction?
I'm gonna allow you to use that skill, so that will reduce the difficulty. We're gonna call, because it's such a large room, we're gonna call it a difficulty 4 baseline. So with that skill, it's gonna bring you down to a difficulty 3. If anyone else,
a power skill, so I would be rolling power for this.
Yeah, in general, where the skill is listed is really just to kind of link it to what ability it's, or what pool it's going to be used with most often. Don't think that the only time you can use a power skill is if you make a power roll.
Okay,
if you can find a way to justify why it would be useful in this situation where I'm asking for a wisdom check, go ahead and use it.
Okay, then I will use it for a wisdom check.
Okay. That being said, if either Zariah or Fubari want to help, you just have to kind of explain how you are going to help him kind of interpret the crowd. And those would both count as assets on the roll.
Okay.
So, do either of you two want to try to help, or?
Sure, I can tell him who is who.
Sure, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So you have 1 asset now. That brings it down, originally a 4. Skill brings it down to 3. First asset brings it down to a 2. So 6 or higher.
Critical roll dice, don't mess me up now. I'm working with it. It's a 19. Success.
19 is good. 19 is also a minor boon. Basically like a soft crit. I think in this particular instance, you get that the crowd itself, something, again, from your sales training, you realize that the mayor has a similar skill set to you. They are a salesman first and foremost, and they're very, very good at reading people and giving them what they want. And you realize that the phrasing that he's using is reinforcing all of the fears and everything that they have been living with for the past few months. And he's basically positioning himself as the sole solution to their problems, which is an extremely effective method of manipulation.
But also bad in this case.
And your minor effect to that, you also are able to get a read on him. And again, obviously has some sales skills, but you think that his major motivator is attention and praise. He wants to feel special. He wants to feel like the most important person in the room. And so that's specifically why he's pitching it this way, as I am the person that's going to save every one.
Fubari, how long has that guy been in power? And I point to the mayor.
Oh, main character syndrome.
Yeah.
Fubari, he's been in power since before you left years ago. So it's probably been at least like 15-ish years.
Oh, since I was a small pup. I don't really remember the person before him.
That's fine. Anyone else getting you said main character syndrome. Desperate for validation? Energy from this guy? You mentioned him. What about the sentiment from the people in the room?
They're eating it up. Like, he's giving them exactly what they have. But again, it is a very fear-based motivation. Like, they're very afraid, and he's telling them he is the only solution to their problems. And if they don't do what he's telling them to do, then things are going to get worse.
Also, point of order, didn't we come up with the idea that he's
100%. He has not mentioned you guys at all.
All right. With that knowledge as well, I'm gonna kind of step forward. You know, it's real funny that you come up with this great idea, sir, and seemingly admit the fact that you weren't the one that came up with it.
And as you say that, you hear kind of these ripples among the crowd. Oh, what is he saying? Who is this? Who is this person? I'm hungry. And the mayor goes, well, obviously, I didn't want to single out any particular person because the way that we figured this out was so...
You didn't single out people because it wasn't one person, it was a group.
Yes, and as a group effort, we all should understand that working together is by far the most effective method.
As deemed by our priestess, correct?
Of course, and I should...
The one who was able to speak with our goddess, correct? Oh, that was your idea, not the goddess's.
Isn't that interesting, Zariah?
So, I should probably introduce our guests. These are wonderful Minish that have actually come directly from the Temple of the Minish. These scholars have come and they were brought here by...
Sorry, not only correct or introduce us as guests, but correct your statement that it wasn't actually your idea that
it was
came
ours.
up with this plan. It was ours, and you just happened to be eavesdropping in the corner, a little bit scared of us. Do you remember that part?
I do.
Why don't you...
I do as well.
Sarah, why don't you make me a power check? I'm going to give you an asset due to the fact that you're speaking the truth.
Can I give an asset and assist by...
Absolutely.
Like, kind of doing a quick read on him to see that if he's like, you've got him right where we want him. He's sweating. Man, he's sweating.
So that counts as a second asset. Maximum, you can only ever have 2 assets. Because he has the trust of these people, this is still going to be a very difficult roll. It's a difficulty 6.
Oh, God.
Your 2 assets bring it down to a difficulty 4. And
12.
To remind people of the things that Imp gave us, Imp did give you guys effort tokens. The way effort works in the Cypher system, since it has been a while since we've been able to play, normally if you add a level of effort, it costs you 3 points from whatever pool you're using minus whatever your edge is in that pool. And that will lower the difficulty by a step per level of effort, and you have a maximum number of levels of effort that you can apply. If you use an effort token, which is something we made up, you don't pay any points. You just get a free level of effort. You are still limited by your maximum amount of effort you can apply. But if you were to use an effort to token on this, a single token would bring it down to a difficulty 3 check, which means you roll a 9 or higher. And obviously, if you can do 2, that would bring it down to a difficulty 2. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, I can do a lot. I feel like Zolta at the moment. Thank you, Mother. Mother, Mother. Let's see. Which of these 2 options do I want to do?
And then again, if you have a particular skill that you think applies here, that will also, if you're trained in a skill, it lowers it by 1. If you're specialized, it lowers it by 2.
Preferably one that doesn't involve an explosion.
Well, I am good at persuasion and deception, so...
Girl to Mean Girl the Mayor. Good one, him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Everyone can see that muffin top, so you're fooling no one.
I was actually debating using a player intrusion.
Yeah, and then player intrusions are basically one sentence as the GM. Basically, it's as if you rolled a nat 20, so that works as well.
All right, I am gonna hold on. I need to see odd or even. Which one I'm gonna do? Even is player intrusion, odd is roll. Dang it, I gotta roll. So I'm gonna use an effort.
Come on, Jax, you got this.
I'm gonna use an effort token.
You also have a reroll token. Remember that.
I also rolled an 18.
Not bad at all. Okay, so,
Oh, I so wanted to crit or at least get a minor.
So, question for you: how are you approaching? Like, what is your goal at the end of this? Do you want to kind of discredit him? Do you want to turn the crowd against? Like, what's your goal?
Partially, mostly to discredit him, but also to sort of plant a seed of doubt.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying he was kind of agreeing with us and setting us up as, the envoys of the goddess. I'm wondering if
he was, but I also have a feeling that he would turn that in his favor since he is, obviously very power driven.
Yeah, he was.
And since we don't have the voice of the saintess and of reason here, I would rather intimidate him and discredit him.
He was pivoting to the idea of you guys wouldn't be here. Like, you basically interrupt him as he's saying, well, they wouldn't be here if my advisors, whom I hired, hadn't requested them to be here. And yes, they gave us a lot of information, but my incredible advisors and my own intellect was able to interpret that and turn it into a workable plan. So everybody should feel included. That's the spiel he's been going on. So you guys watch as Zariah kind of comes forward, and feel free to roleplay as much or as little of this as you would like. But if you don't have specific stuff that you want to say, I'm going to just kind of keep explaining.
Okay, keep explaining, effects. And I will interject.
Okay, absolutely. So you guys watch as Motto. You have seen people like this before. You fired a couple people like this before because they always start off as really strong salespeople at the entry level. But as soon as they're put under scrutiny, you start seeing
the cracks start forming.
Well, yeah, you start seeing like dishonest practices, unethical sales techniques, and the things like that, and stuff that, while it does make the sale, it overall hurts the business. And because of your own skill in sales, you've gotten good enough that you can generally kind of suss them out before they get to a point that they can damage, or they could have damaged your business. And so as you're sitting there watching, you're like, I know this guy. I know exactly. And you're getting ready to just kind of excoriate. There's a word.
Excoriate?
There we go.
I don't know what that means. That sounds like a big word.
It's a very cool word. Dismantle him effectively. And you see, and as you're sitting there, you're kind of going through like your sales and your management things of like, okay, well, normally, you really shouldn't call people out publicly, but he doesn't work for me. And you're going through this, you suddenly feel this kind of heat from next to you. And you kind of look over and you can see Zariah is done with this. Zariah has a righteous indignation kind of flowing from her. The one time you saw the woman that she effectively calls Murder Mother use her powers, it kind of had a similar effect. Instead of this crazy amount of entropic energy kind of flowing off, you just see this righteous indignation kind of flowing on her. You see the fire in her eyes, and she slowly starts to walk forward, adding things like, really, you sent for us. How'd you do that? Exactly when did you send for us? How did you get a message to us?
And how dare you forget my tea that I ordered?
And how did you know we were even there? When's the last time you visited the Temple of the Minish? How many times have you even told the rest of the people here that the Temple of the Minish even exists? How many? And you just stop and turn to someone. When did you learn about the Temple of the Minish? And the older woman, like mid-30s, kind of looks to you and goes, I thought it was a fairy tale. Yeah, that's how people in power like to do things. is they'll convince you that the solutions to your problems are fairy tales until they want to use them. Then they become real things. So yes, please tell me, how did you know that we were there? Well, being the mayor, I always keep track of how exactly. Do you have pigeons that you send over there that tell you exactly what's going on?
That just don't happen to eat you as they, come and communicate, because pigeons are rather large creatures.
And what about your advisors and how they're supposed to keep you in the loop? Recall correctly, weren't they vehemently against us from the jump when we walked in?
And
I
she
feel like the
turns.
fan adds so much to
It
this.
does. And Zariah turns to the advisors. Oh, by the way, so how did you find out about us? What journey did you go on? Oh, did you happen to traverse into the forest and meet any forest minish? Oh, did you happen to bring back some shadow sickness with you? No, please inform me of how you advised him on all of these ideas, on all of this plan.
We're
Please
waiting.
Advise us.
And they're kind of tripping over each other, and both Tulio and Olio are kind of looking at each other, and you see they're like picking up papers and just looking for something, anything that they can use. And finally the mayor goes, "This is not helping anyone."
Correct.
We are,
You are not helping anyone by instilling fear amongst them and lying to them. You are absolutely correct. This is helping no one. So, I would advise you to listen to our plan in order to save everyone from this shadow sickness. Unlike you, who want it to continue to perpetuate and take over. Because if you wanted to actually stop it, you wouldn't be instilling fear. You would be joining everyone together.
and you can start.
So let's try this again.
So you can see the crowd itself is starting to kind of jeer and like, yeah, you haven't had a solution thus far. Yeah, didn't the first people, they went to you for first? Yeah, how many forest minish are you working with? And it's just like the crowd is starting to become significantly more unruly, and the mayor's like, I will have order, and he starts kind of slamming the scepter.
As long as you are, if you're demanding order, then that means you don't have respect to have order. Sir, I see right through you. I know a bad salesman when I see one, and let me tell you, if I open the dictionary, there is a photo of your face right now. I see a... You know, that's a good point. We'll work on that later.
They have a library.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll look into that. But
we have one large dictionary.
When I look at
like
you,
people turn the page.
I see someone so desperate for validation and for attention and for praise for what you do. But you know what I see right now? I see a rube. I see someone who's trying to get there by any means necessary instead of actually doing something right. If you want actual validation and attention and praise, you don't try to stir up fear, you try to help people. The bar is literally low, and you're bringing a shovel to the bar of decency.
And so, Zariah, as you come forward, as all of this stuff is going on, Fubari, you are incredibly impressed with your new friends. Zariah not only is kind of dismantling this person that you've never really had the utmost respect for, it's just been one of those things like, well, he's the mayor. You have to you gotta kind of expect him because he's the mayor, and he'll put you in jail if you don't. But you've never really had a lot of respect for him. As you watch as Zariah comes forward, and almost like a duel, like they're fencing, she comes forward, and every time he takes a big wide swing, she'll just move slightly to the side, parry, and then thrust. And another one, thrust. And she just keeps breaking him down over and over again. And then he takes the scepter and he starts slamming it on the table, using it kind of like a judge's gavel. And every time he does that, there's this little explosion in your head. You don't know why, you've never felt an experience like this, but every time he slams that on the table, you feel something really, really horrible is about to happen. And so he sits there, bam, it's like, psh. He does it again, bam, 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 psh, psh, psh.
Can I yell at him to stop?
Sure.
as soon as he starts slamming it on the table and demanding order from it, I do want Zariah to grow some vines and like attempt to take it from his hand. Because one, she knows it's important, and two, if that's what's giving him the power and letting him demand order, she wants that power.
Okay. So, go ahead and make me a power check. It's basically just going to be a power attack as you use your vines. We're going to call this. We're just going to call this a difficulty 4. Like not an incredibly difficult thing, but there's enough people watching, and while there weren't any guards outside, there are guards in here.
Where are the guards?
They're near the basically.
Are they near him or are they near us?
They're in between you and him.
Got it.
Like the purpose of them, you have again proscenium seating. You have kind of the ground floor, and then you have kind of a dais thing where like normally the judge would sit. Well, that's where he is, and then there's where like the witness box would be in a normal courtroom. You have his advisors on one side, and there's an advisor on one side and an advisor on the other.
If I make this roll, can I use a player intrusion token directly afterwards?
Yes, there's no limitation as to when you can use a player intrusion token.
Okay. It's mainly for flavor.
Sure, that's fine.
I've got a 4. Let me try that again.
Go. Come on, check.
I've got a 19.
19.
Yeah!
So
That's a boon.
That's a minor boon, anyways. So,
Okay.
or a minor effect. I can't remember what they call it in this system, but we'll call it a minor boon.
Okay.
Um.
Well, let me see if the minor boon will let it happen. Since it succeeded, can I have him, as soon as it leaves his hand, start to cower in fear and call her mommy?
Dear God.
So you want her to call Zariah mommy?
Happy
Or-
bride.
Want
Yes,
him
I
to
want
call
him. I want him
for
to
his
come-
mommy.
No, I want him to call Zariah mommy because he is so scared that his mummy is going to beat him, and now Zariah is in place of his mother. So I want him to call Zariah mommy and be terrified.
Happy pride.
I would say for this particular character, the idea of him calling you mommy is just not something, even with a player intrusion token, I
Okay,
would allow.
fine. Then
if you would
call for
like him
his
to
own
call
mommy.
out for his mother,
Yes. All right.
that I'm fine with.
All right.
There's a certain flavor of cowardice that just feels right to call
Is
out
it-
for mommy.
Is his mother
Alright.
here?
No, she's been gone.
Okay.
She's been gone for years.
All right.
He's-
Then that makes it even better.
He's
Yes,
in
please.
he's in his late 60 or late 50s, early 60s. So like his folks have been gone for a bit.
What is the lifespan of a minish?
I mean, we're assuming that it's going to be somewhat similar to a human lifespan, where being in your late 50s, early 60s is relatively old, but not to the point of incompetence.
I don't know. There are some 60-year-olds.
My dad got early onset dementia in his early 50s, so it can happen.
I know people who've gotten early onset dementia in their early 40s.
Yeah, it's
Don't know why
That's
I'm talking like Zariah while I'm saying that, but
it's a horrible situation. And you don't just need dementia to become incompetent. There are so many
Hey.
other ways. Like I've met 20-year-olds that were completely incompetent.
I was about to
That
say, you
nothing
can just
to do.
be
I was about to say,
incompetent. Let's
had
be
nothing to
honest.
do with mental illness. It was just overall incompetence.
Lack of
So-
frontal lobe development.
Precisely. That's
Me.
never ended up growing in. I'm so sorry, Mado. As you kind of
So as he's sitting there, he's calling for order. Fubari, you're feeling this is very, very wrong, and something very, very bad is about to happen if he keeps slamming this. And suddenly you watch as Zariah kind of turns to her and goes, "That is not okay!" And she reaches forward, and these vines just grow out of her hand. And I believe you have an ability, like grasping vines or something similar to
Yes.
that, right? So whatever the cost of that, that's the ability that we're going to say gives you the ability to do this. So
Oh.
spend whatever that would normally cost, minus whatever your edges and everything like that. I don't think it's particularly expensive, right? It's like
It's 3.
3. So yeah, but you have an
Yeah,
edge of 1 or 2 in power.
Oh. I don't have any edges in power.
Really? Where's
Unless
my mouse? Let me look.
Okay. Unless I accidentally
don't.
mess something up.
No, you have all your edges in courage because you normally do kind of fighty stuff.
But that's weird because if you see every single one of my thing, it's all power based.
Well, again, the way that this character was built was they were supposed to be more of a melee-based character.
Yeah.
So a lot of your quote-unquote attacks would have been with your Shadow Builder rod, which uses courage.
Right.
So that's why we built it that way, so you could have really strong fights.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead and subtract the 3 power for using that ability, because it is a little bit more than just your regular stuff.
Yeah.
So she reaches forward, and you guys watch as the staff that she has now turned to this cool kind of sleeve thing grows these vines and goes over and grabs the thing and pulls it over, and immediately the guards, seeing this as an attack, start rushing towards her, and they all have like spears brandished at her, and they're getting ready to attack. But
without any hesitation, Mato takes the shield out and just steps in front of Zarya.
Okay. Do you have a particular shield that you want out now, or just the first one that's available to you? Because technically all the shields work as shields. But
I'm gonna say... Let's say the first one available to me, because at this point, it's not... Well, maybe I'll eventually show, and maybe people have seen the flying shield. At this point, the real current concern right now is protecting Zarya.
Okay. So because you've been using the flying shield so often recently, that's the first one that is just closest to you. So you kind of bring it out and you put it on your wrist as most of your shields work, and it starts really small, and you just kind of move forward, and as you do, you kind of grip your hand, and you suddenly have this large shield there.
Does the flying shield have wings?
It does.
It does.
Airplane.
So the flying shield, it looks like a kind of like a bird in flight, and in terms of flavor, I do envision this to look very similar to what the actual bird structures that were from Tears of the Kingdom. It does have that kind of resemblance, so it would have wings. They're more like connected, so it's not like a pure like wingspan like an actual bird, but it is adjacent.
Yeah. So very similar in shape to the like Hylian, I can't remember what shield shape that is. I used to study this shit. There's all these different shield shapes, but the basic Hylian shield where it's got flat top and then kind of goes into a point at the bottom, that kind of thing, but at the edge, instead of it just being solid, that's where the wings start to spread. And so because of that, it is a much wider shield than kind of your standard shield. So you guys have this big kind of metallic bird-looking shield that kind of just goes choom, and as it grows, in addition to like the shield growing, the bird on it starts with its wings closed, and as it grows, the wings flare out to complete the thing. And so Mato's there, and seeing a shield kind of flap at them, the people are a little bit confused.
How many guards are there?
At this particular point, there are 4 next that are pointing spears at now.
Are they like charging at them, or
they moved close enough to get within spear range, and then the shield thing happened, so they backed up a little bit. There are also 2 more guards that have moved closer to the mayor to kind of protect him. So in total, there's a grand total of 6, and you can see that the crowd itself is starting to kind of get a little bit panicked over everything that's going on. Like weapons are being drawn, and cool bird shields are coming out of nowhere, and Zarya, now, I mean, the only thing she forgot to say was, "Get over here!" And spit fire, so...
No, it wasn't forgotten.
Can I inspect the staff very quickly and make sure it's not broken? Damaged?
Sure, if you want to go over. I also want to remind you of something that you haven't had a chance to use a whole lot yet.
Mm-hmm.
Part of your character, the focus that we gave her originally was brandishes. I think it was firearms or guns or something like that, and we changed it to brandishes thingies. But she's effectively a gunslinger, and one of the abilities that you have is we call it thingy trick. But it's basically a way to kind of either intimidate or persuade people by using one of the many gadgets that you have. So if you wanted to do something like that, because again, a panic is starting to form in the crowd. You have people drawing weapons. If you wanted to use that in this situation, even if it's just so that you can get close enough to get the scepter, because as of right now, Motto is kind of keeping just about everybody back with his shield. So getting to Zariah to look at it will be slightly more difficult than a normal. And Zariah right now is in kind of defense mode. She's being attacked, so she's probably not going to.
I think I'd like to help her out.
Sure. So
but yeah, we can use thingy trick.
Sure. So what exactly do you want to do as a result? Like, if everything goes well, what do you want the result of this to be?
I would like. Are the people with the spears, they kind of clustered together?
Yeah, they're basically forming kind of a phalanx. If you're
All right.
familiar with what a phalanx is?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to take my grappling hook and trip them up with it as a group.
Cool. Go ahead and make me a... we can call this a courage roll because it's very... kind of, or courage or wisdom, whichever you like. But I think this would more be a wisdom check.
Yeah, this is okay.
So go ahead and just as a reminder, the only thing that matters for the pool is where you're going to be taking points from if you have to spend any points. So you just roll a d20. We're going to say this would normally be a difficulty 6. Thing, because tripping up 4 guards in phalanx position is a very difficult thing. However, with your thingy trick, we're going to it eases the task by 1 level, and because you are practiced with the thingies, trying to see, that just means there's no penalty to it. So without adding effort or assets or anything like that, it brings it down to difficulty 5, which means you roll a d20 and you have to roll higher than a 15.
Can Zariah assist by did it look like only Fubari was being affected by the slamming of the staff?
I'm not, with everything going on with how focused you were with the mayor, I'm not sure you would have noticed Fubari being affected by it. You were not affected by it.
Right.
And the rest of the audience didn't really seem affected by it at all. So as far as you can tell, it was Fubari specifically.
Okay, perfect. Well,
but again, you had other things in your mind, justifiably so.
Yes. I was just seeing, like, if it was the case where other people were, being affected by it, his advisors were behind him and were also being yelled at. So if it was being slammed and they were like flinching or something.
I think everybody, you would have seen that when he started slamming it, everybody looked uncomfortable about it. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, how would you like to help?
Am I completely covered by matter right now?
What do you mean by that? Like he is 100% between you and the spears. Like, they will have to go through him and his shield to get to you.
Right. Can they still see me, though? Like,
yeah.
Or am I completely covered by Matto's shield? Because Matto's considerably taller than Zariah.
You can still be seen. If you want to be seen, you can be seen.
Okay.
It's a big shield. It's not that big.
Again, Zariah is fairly small. And how highly do they think of this staff?
You actually don't know. This is, other than when you originally had the conversation with him, you guys don't know if the regular populace is even familiar with this thing.
Okay.
And we do need it for the
100%, yes.
Yes, that I know. Okay. Can I assist by doing something to Motto Shield?
What specifically?
So basically, because they saw the effectiveness of the goat heads or other similar plants, I would like to have them start growing on Motto Shield, so that they are essentially being either distracted or like.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Afraid of them because they hurt.
Absolutely. No, I'm good with that. I'll give you an asset for that, so that brings your roll down to a difficulty 4. So you'll need a 12 or higher. If you wanted to use an effort token, that would bring it down to difficulty 3. You only need a 9 or higher.
Is there another asset left? Can I provide assets in the package?
If you have another idea on how you want to help her.
I mean, if she's using my shield, can I...
No. You're helping. Dottie is the one that's actually doing something right now.
Yes.
Yeah, Dottie is effectively trying to use her grapple hook to kind of trip all the guards.
And Zariah is using your shield to grow the vines to be a distraction for Dottie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
would it be harder or easier for me to use my grapple hook to grapple the actual spears out of their hand? Because I'm assuming they're like facing in the same way, and if I'm like perpendicular to it, I grapple the far one and pull them out of their hands.
As far as like the base difficulty, both of them would be base difficulty.
About the
6.
same.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll go for tripping them up then.
Okay.
I'm going to then provide an asset. I think you guys see where this is going. I don't know if I can add anything more of a distraction.
That's fine. So yeah, I need you to roll a d20, and if you want to use that effort token you just got, you need a 9 or higher. If you don't, you need a 12 or higher.
Let's use the effort token.
Okay, cool.
Somehow I have 6 effort tokens.
It doesn't surprise me. Imp tends to be liberal with them. So.
Imp gave us a bunch before we started.
And rerolls, right?
One reroll.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So 9 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna reroll. That's a 3.
Okay.
9.
9. That's exactly what you need. So, as all of this is happening, Zariah, you have this. You can see. Go ahead. I will.
No, you're good.
All right.
You're good.
So, Zariah, you have these sceptered. You can see them slowly inching forward. When Motto gets in front of you, they hesitate for a little bit, but you can see kind of the group mentality starting to take over. The guards are like, no, this is a person that's just assaulted the person we're supposed to protect, and they took the special something. We need to get this done. So you're sitting there and trying to figure out what to do, and you watch as Fubari next to you just starts kind of pulling out cord, and you see her pull her fishing hook, grappling hook out, and you see her kind of looking at their feet, and you instantly know what she's trying to do. So you're like, oh, they're going to see her thorns, and you just grab the shield, and these goat's head thorns just start popping out of it, and they get much more confused, but they're starting to get ready, and suddenly you see this almost like fly fishing and goes down, and suddenly all the guards look down. They look at Dottie, and Dottie just kind of shoom. And you have I decided when you were helping helping Motto not die, you have a little thing on your belt that you can attach your grappling cord to that retracts. And that's how you were able to kind of...
It's like a manual crank.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so you just kind of put it through there and had already kind of pre-wound it so it would go very fast. You just go clink, shoop, and all of them go boom, boom. And there's a large pile of shields, spears, 2 of which break. And they're just kind of tangled amongst each other.
Minish fishing. Minish fishing.
Yes.
Minish
we got there at the end.
Finish fishing only happens in Finland.
Who says we're not?
We're always in Finland.
So that being said, chaos is starting to kind of to take over at this point.
After they fall, I want to, if it looks like there's no one else who's about to kind of attack, I want to kind of get back up, dissipate the shield, look at the mayor and say, "Are you quite done?"
And the crowd is kind of yelling, and the guards are just completely out of sorts. The two that are still standing are realizing the crowd is turning against them and are kind of just backing up towards the mayor to kind of present a shield front.
Mata raises his hand in an effort to kind of get the crowd to die down a little in a way that is non-threatening, but also to try to just get some of the din and chaos to stop a little bit.
So as you walk forward, you kind of raise your hand in an authoritative manner. Go ahead and make me a difficulty 3 power check.
Can I argue my... This doesn't seem like a positive or pleasant social interaction, but I'm going to argue that this is a very much a persuasion kind of thing. Can I use either and or both?
I would say this is persuasive. I would not say that this is a positive interaction, though.
Fair enough. So that takes me down 1.
Yep. So difficulty 2.
Okay. Natural 20.
Damn.
Yay,
all right. So do you have a major effect that you can think of, or do you want me to just decide for you?
Go ahead and make the choice for me.
So as you move forward and you kind of raise your hand, I kind of envision there's an alternate scene from A Knight's Tale that I absolutely love. I wish they'd kept in the movie. William is in the stocks, and everybody's found out that he's not a real knight, and people are starting to throw rotten fruit and vegetables at him. And so Geoffrey Chaucer, played by the amazing Paul Bettany, comes forward, and he's been his herald this entire time, and effectively his hype man. So he comes out and he's going, listen to me, people. And they're just throwing stuff, and he eventually just gets smacked in the chest with something rotten. And he just kind of looks at it and goes, Mother, I can tell you're cooking anywhere. Mother, are you there? And the audience kind of stops. And he keeps on going, I hope, for your sake, that you are not there. That you don't have to see the barbarism that is happening here. And he goes into this entire thing where he's having this conversation with this imaginary mother, but he's using it as a way to kind of get the crowd on his side again. And it's a brilliant, brilliant scene. And I kind of see Mata doing a very similar thing, where you kind of step in, you raise your hand, and you start effectively just telling a story about your own child. And I'll let you decide what that story is. But it starts off as something like, I remember this time where the village I was in had a fire. And everyone was trying to figure out where the fire came from. And everyone was saying that, well, there was this kid. He was a really bad kid. He always did all these bad things. And so everyone was going, well, it's obviously the kid. The kid started the fire. And they all started coming up with all these different things. You know what happened? You know what that kid was doing at that time? The kid was taking buckets of water and pouring it on the fire. And that was the only reason he was in the area, as he smelled smoke and he saw what was going to happen. And yet we use this entire thing. Feel free to jump in if you have more better ideas.
Rather than acknowledge and celebrate that child was doing the right thing in trying to extinguish the flames, they thought it was a better use of their time to villainize them, to point the finger at them and say, that is the source of our problem. Did they offer to or do anything to help? No. No, they did not. That kid was one of my best friends. and watching my best friend get turned into a evil villain that basically he had to leave. He left because I drove him out.
So
I will see that
pivoting
once.
slightly, so that this is not so much you're trying to become their new dictator. The kind of point of the story was the idea.
That was Zariah.
Yeah, the point of the story was the idea that you know what actually stopped the fire. It wasn't figuring out who started it. It was everybody getting into a line and throwing buckets on the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
sorry.
we can.
Missed the point.
No, I totally get it. Just trying to kind of.
Yeah. No.
To get you to a point where you can be in a position where they're going to trust you more than everyone else.
Don't need.
Man's name was Victor Von Doom.
We don't need to point at someone and say they're bad, when what we could be doing better is all joining in. The acts of many outweigh the actions of one.
And so as you go ahead.
So rather than put blame or try to take credit for things that clearly were not your own, why not take this opportunity to unite the people and work together to figure out a solution that helps everybody?
And as you're saying that, you walk over to the pile of guards on the floor and you reach down and you grab one of their arms and kind of lift him up, kind of pat him on the back, and then you turn and you get him to help lift up the next one and lift up the next one, and soon everybody is standing together. See.
Sorry about your sphere.
See how much easier it is when we work together to fix the problems, as opposed to fighting and trying to find who started this. Doesn't matter who started it. You know who's going to finish it? Every single person in this room. And Zariah, you kind of get the idea that he needs a prop, and so you just kind of go over and you hand him the scepter, and he goes, every single person, he raises up the scepter, every single person in this room knows what needs to happen, knows that if we work together, that this is going to end. It doesn't matter where it started, who started it, we're going to finish it.
We're past the point of blame. Now is the time to act.
And as he keeps kind of speaking to the crowd and kind of riling them up, you guys start noticing that the scepter looks different. You're not exactly sure what it is at first. But as he keeps kind of riling people up and going, are you going to focus on who to blame, or are you going to focus on who to save? And he goes to another person, you, and you finally go all the way up to the mayor, realizing, are you going to focus on who to blame or who to save? And as you say that every single time, over and over again, you see the sphere at the top starts to kind of luminesce. Very slightly at first. It almost just looks kind of like light playing off of the shiny surface. But it begins to glow a little bit brighter. And suddenly, at the end, you have this kind of glowing, empowered scepter.
Does Amato kind of understand what's happening as he's holding this scepter?
Kind of. The intricacies of the ritual are pretty far beyond your ken.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the idea that it's working the way that you want to.
As I look at the mayor and I ask that, as people are like chanting or everything, I look at him and just say, attention and praise is not something that you can demand. It is something that you earn. You have the opportunity here to earn respect and earn that attention. Are you going to choose to blame, or are you going to choose to save? And that choice will decide the other answer.
So, because you got your nat 20, again, you read people really well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this whole experience has kind of shaken this person to his core. He's having effectively kind of a crisis of faith at this point, because everything he's understood up until now has just kind of been shattered. He's always been the one in control. He's always been the one who would have the right answer or know where to get the right answer. And he has always known that anyone that might usurp his power, who might not be manipulated by him, was a massive, dangerous person that needed to be eliminated. And you could see all of this realization in his head just kind of washing away. And he at this point is realizing this is what leadership is. It's not beating people into submission. It's not manipulating them to do what you want. It is leading. And so as you see that kind of realization on his face, he goes, I don't know if I can lead the way you describe. However, I will spend the rest of my term and my life learning how. And he kind of offers his hand to you.
That's the first step in becoming a good leader. It's acknowledging that you do not always have the answer, but being committed to learning how to be better.
I think his role models.
Get up. Come on.
Okay.
Grabs his hand, lifts him up.
And
being a leader is tough.
The entire audience erupts in cheers. And you can feel the kind of groundswell of appreciation just kind of flowing over everyone. And you know that in order for this ritual to work, you do need a member of the town Minish to be wielding the scepter at there. So your decision now is, who do you want to give the scepter to, who's going to come with you to the Temple of the Minish?
Rubari's trying because he's easily manipulated.
And you watch as Zarai's just sitting there going, that could have been me.
Do I count as a town Minish, or am I like...
Fubara, you're starting to realize that your position, or your position in this entire situation is unique.
Okay.
And
so we need an actual town Minish.
Yeah, you're starting to think that your job here, you are going to be required in addition to a member of the town Minish.
Okay.
You're still important, but you don't think you qualify as either a forest or to the town Minish anymore.
I got a sense of the staff connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, where's my friendo? I feel like he would probably be the easiest one to convince.
Okay. The rest of this is a group decision for all of you.
I'm
so
threatened. No, that's Rai's choice.
okay.
I feel like I've got this mayor right where I want him.
Okay.
And I feel like if there's anybody who wants to try to be on the path, it would be him, especially if he knows that we're watching him. So I have half a mind to potentially let the mayor actually do this. Half a mind. Because it seems that something finally clicked in his head, and he's realized that he has been misleading the wrong way and losing the respect. And this is something that he could do that could help repair some of that.
Sarai would be down with that, because then there's someone else that she could berate.
Sarai's motivations are very
that's
clear.
really what I'm here for, is to give
Look
Zaraya
at her
targets.
Mothers. Look at her mothers.
Yeah.
Learn as much as you, yeah. I really love the kind of juxtaposition. The word.
Justification.
No, juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition was the word. Juxtapotato was a good one.
I really like the juxtapotas. So I really like the juxtaposition of the motivations of Zulta and Cass. It's like, I need to learn everything so I can use it to control people.
Yes.
The fact
that's
that
exactly it.
they're not the salesperson in the group is wild.
Sales does require a slight amount of selflessness because the things that you're selling are generally for someone else.
That's not true, because you can push your own sense of an item's worth onto someone else to make them believe that they want it too, or they need it in their lives.
You can make the argument either way.
I'm speaking as a former salesman and sales trainer. Salesmen that are entirely self-motivated can only succeed so far, because eventually the self-motivation
right, but you just said
salesperson.
Base level.
Yeah.
They don't have to go very far.
Anyway,
so
I'm in favor of giving this mayor the opportunity to redeem.
Okay. The rest of you.
But
this is again
with the knowledge of him being watched by all of us.
Okay. The rest of you?
And I guess Modo can be a good role model sometimes. He's not the brightest bulb, but
I feel like we're going to run into some problems later on, but we're also not trying to start a revolution here.
So I do have a question, Fubari, since you know everyone here. Who would be a good substitute leader?
That's the problem with leading, is there's very few people that want to do it and very few people that are actually motivated for the correct reasons.
That is the thing, isn't it?
And that's why it's temporarily finding a good leader, not necessarily one who wants to stay in that position.
Do I know of any other potentials, or do we?
I mean, you do not know everybody in the town, but the people that you remember the most, like your friend that continued to trade with you. The reason he was able to effectively get away with it, because anyone else, they would have been shunned and would have been kicked out for dealing with Forestmanish. Your friend, your friend has leadership qualities in the idea that they understand how to lead people by example and how to kind of present themselves and their choices in a way that's beyond kind of like when people question their choices, they don't reconsider their position. They go, this is the choice I made, this is why I made it, and the choice has already been made. So moving forward, I will use your information to make a better choice. But this choice has already been decided, and based on the information I had, I made the best choice I could have made in that situation. So in those aspects, you think, given the chance, he probably could be a very effective leader, despite the fact that he has no desire to be put into a position of leadership. He just wants to do good, and he found that he was very good with trade and other things like that. So that's why he does what he does. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do I have any memory of the current mayor, like along his reign? Has he always been this incredibly self-aggrandizing, motivated person?
Absolutely. He is your kind of stereotypical politician. The only reason that he has shown any growth was somebody rolled a nat 20. Normally, that kind of growth doesn't happen that fast. Like, it's not possible for that to happen. Nat 20s break reality. So you can see that something has changed in him. But all of your experiences thus far is he is very self-motivated. And you... we can write some backstory for you right now. I think one of the things that probably inspired you to leave, in addition to the fact that your parents, that idea of you didn't like just being limited to one little place and kind of that homeostasis aspect. You wanted adventure, you wanted exploration, you wanted to see things outside the four walls that you lived in. In addition to that, I would say you've probably seen the mayor kind of throw someone under the bus before. And you weren't taken by his explanation like everyone else. Again, he's a fantastic manipulator. It's how politics works. But you were smart enough to realize and see the manipulation, and it probably was one of the things, of the many things that kind of inspired you. You know what, maybe this isn't the place for me. Maybe I want to go out and explore and learn about other places and nature and things like that. Are you okay with that being a part of your backstory?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
guess,
your experience with him is negative. You don't have positive views of him. You can see that something has changed, but we are creatures of habit. You know, we base our opinions on people based on what they've done before. So I think it would be very justified for you to not trust this sudden shift.
Yeah, I think that is certainly my perspective, and that I'm not convinced that a redemption is possible or that this is the correct road for redemption for him, because it only potentially places him in a spot where he can once again claim power and shift perspectives towards his own well-being rather than the community. I think whatever we can do to make this more of a community effort, and involve more people would probably be a good choice.
You don't let the recovering alcoholic run the bar.
I think there is a path to redemption, but maybe this is not the correct path.
So all of this is kind of happening while the crowd is doing that. Like, you guys are having this conversation separate from everyone else, so you can continue to kind of persuade each other as far as what you feel is the right thing. You have all the time in the world.
I would propose getting a representative from several of the families as a group.
That seems like a solid choice. I think.
And feel free to counter.
Zariah has no opinion of the matter.
I'm torn because there's
a lot of faith.
I feel like I'm missing a reference here.
Nothing's good, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This
oh
is how
yeah, that went
feel.
way
cold
over
and
my
I
head.
am shamed, lying naked on the floor.
Oh, never mind. I think I know what this is. I just didn't know it.
It's a really pretty song. Natalie Burbiblia, or whatever her name is. She's wonderful.
I think what I'm torn about here is, I understand. I think the having other people from the families take it is, I think, a good thing. I'm also wondering if, because I also can see this now that I've essentially broken reality with that Nat 20 and made him realize, oh wait, maybe I'm the problem here. If
to be fair, that can happen to people, but it involves we used to call a come to Jesus moment. It's one of those things where something just hits you with such a profound sense of what's it called?
Come to the goddess moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cognitive dissonance. There's the word I was thinking of.
It's kind of a giant wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like it's his time, but also a great leadership moment is learning when to take a step back and let people who deserve to have that moment more take it.
So the younger generations.
Yeah. So I'm on a mix of going with Fubari's idea of having the families do it. And I think thinking about it more, I think that's the better call.
Okay.
Is there a reason why he can't come and observe and participate?
Oh no, he should come and.
Yeah, because I think having the individuals from the families there to witness what his actual participation is would be a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't going to let him not go.
Yeah.
He should go. He's a leader.
So, to kind of speed things along, if that's the route that you guys want to go, effectively, after discussing it with everyone, you kind of come up with the idea that each house, which in this case means physical house. Multiple families will live in a single physical domicile. Each house will send a representative, and there's roughly around 32 different houses that all house various different groups.
Oh shoot! Wasn't Grumpo the head of his?
Well, they don't choose the head of their house; they choose a representative.
Okay.
And
yeah,
so
Grumpo's
from the
kind
barn,
of indisposed.
from the barn, they've decided to send your friend, since he is the only member of the barns that has actually kind of left it.
Would it be possible to also see or like convince the families to choose more open-minded individuals of their houses?
Yeah, the whole process itself is basically done right in the meeting here, and you guys are effectively able to kind of lead it.
Okay.
So you guys are able to kind of suggest, yeah, the entire reason that this thing worked was everyone here was willing to work together, was willing to forget their prejudices, was able to forget that. So the person that joins us in going to the temple of the Minish needs to be people that really embrace that idea. And so because of that, you guys, again, get a group of around 30-ish people, because some of the houses are small enough that you just go, you know what, we're going to have this house represent us, because there's only like 2 families that live here. But the roughly 30-ish largest houses, I guess I should say, all send a member, and they're all ready to go.
Oh, I thought we were talking about establishing a temporary government in the.
Oh no, these are
No.
all. They may be used as a temporary government when they get Peppa back.
To that part. Okay.
No, they're just coming with you guys to activate the.
If that's the case, can Zariah screen for those who are potential pushovers and swap them out for others?
You could do as much as you would like. There at this point, the crowd is kind of taken over, and the message is kind of to take it over.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, overall, you guys are able to kind of figure out what it is, and with this large a group of Minish crossing that no man's land, you guys are able to kind of come up with better ways to cross than the one that you guys did.
Not during the rain, you mean?
Yeah, not during the rain. So, to move things forward, you guys are able to all get to the Temple of the Minish. When you arrive there, you can see the leader of the Forest Minish is there with the staff, and the mayor and this entire kind of group of people is there as well. And it looks like there's a bit of a kind of a tension when they first arrive, but unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for today.
Cliffhanger!
As always, if you missed any of this, we do put all of this. It's all available on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Zelda Universe TV. Just click on the video tab, and we have an entire playlist for Tears of the Realms, and for the one-shots that we mentioned before, and for Realms of the Wild, which was our 5.5-year campaign we did before this. We did Open Legend. Something that I beat myself up over every single time we do this, I always forget to mention. Dottie is our wonderful guest, and she has been coming and playing with us for a long time now. And I always forget to mention, Dottie does stuff online too, and has a really awesome stuff. So Dottie, if people want to see the stuff that you do, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Oh, well, I'm a sporadic streamer. I do it for fun. I play a lot of World of Warcraft and do like high-end Mythic Plus key pushing and goofing off with friends and a good time. But yeah, I'm at Dottie Lou on Twitch, same name.
So yeah, check out her stuff. It's cool. Her name game is on point. all of her World of Warcraft character names are amazing. And I haven't seen the new World of Warcraft just change things where instead of just a long list of your characters, they're all around a campfire now.
We have a war band now. It's so cute. So now I have all of my costumes like coordinated with each other, and everybody's in purple. It's beautiful.
It's amazing. There's a lot of things that game I don't think does very well. The warbands thing I think is brilliant.
There's a lot of really cool stuff coming in with the War Within expansions, and the storyline looks amazing. It's got this creepy Nyarlathotep style villain, and it's going to be an amazing trek in the next couple years.
So, yeah. Anyway, again, that is going to be all for us today, and we will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.